Did you finish?
I did, and I'm dying to hear your thoughts. So I would like to know if you have been able to read or finish both books.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So having answered that, I can't wait to hear how different the endings are.
The endings are fairly similar.
Okay.
What seemed the most different is the time spent over in Africa fighting the war
Mm-hmm.
seemed much shorter in the Apple one.
With King Iscariano.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed more like truncated, whereas there was a lot more to that, and like why the relationship between King Iscariano and Tarrant was so like how the Brotherhood was formed.
Okay.
So much more. The Apple one, it just seemed to happen. Where the
Right. Do you feel that I missed out on a lot?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, you got the bulk of the story,
Okay.
and I think if anyone asked you about Tarrant LeBlanc, you could answer. You could say, the night, and tell the story, and tell the love story apart, and tell the side characters. Like, all the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
If they ask you weird things about bread, you might not know it because it wasn't in there. So I don't think you did.
Okay.
It was two different experiences, though. By the end, I think I enjoyed the book one by the later part of the book
Okay.
more than the Apple one.
Okay. I have mentioned in the past that I've noticed it more, or I noticed it more towards the middle and end, I think. I could really tell that I was reading the abridged version.
Right. Yeah. Something shifted in the Apple one where it just seemed like trying to get things going.
And it really got going towards the end. Um, how happy or satisfied are you with the ending?
I thought it was hilarious.
Okay, so it took me a while. It took me a really while to process it all, just because it was somewhat maddening
I can see that.
to have read about the adventures of Tarot LeBlanc. And he was so highlighted, so esteemed, so celebrated. And then the ending comes, and there's like this big twist where he loses everything and someone else, just wins it
Not
all.
even
He gets the woman, he gets the empire.
not even lose it. He just I think he had appendicitis. The way they described it, that's what took him out. All these things, and he even knew. He was like, "Oh, time's up. I didn't get." Well, he got what he really wanted.
Yes, with Princess Carmesina.
Right, and then on his way back, he was like, "Ouchies," and then he died. And I thought that was hilarious because I spent all this time, and you think like it's going to be like and then happily ever after, and it was complete 180. Fantastic.
That's exactly
Bravo.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. I thought, oh, this is probably going to end, in the perfect, cookie cutter way, and it definitely didn't. It took a turn. And once he died, I don't know, like the grief just took its toll on the emperor, Princess Carmesina.
Pretty much everyone.
Yes, and then they all just went down, like, the domino effect.
Well, especially the princess because she had she put her dead father on one side and Duran on the other. Was like time to die. Like I just how does that? Because they didn't like reference her committing suicide. Like she didn't do anything. She just decided to die, which I thought was interesting.
I thought about that too, and it just almost seemed like she died from grief. No.
Yeah, she said that. Well, the Apple one kind of mentioned how she started bleeding out of her nose and mouth. It just kind of randomly where the book
from crying so much, mind you.
That's what the Apple one said. The book one said something like she banged her head or something.
Really?
I think that's what it said. It seemed like she accidentally knocked her nose, and everyone thought it was just all part of it. But There's little things, but
Wow.
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. So I didn't think the book was that great, but the ending just sort of. I mean, I don't know. I ended rating it a solid 3 stars.
Okay. Well, what if you spent? I mean, so you had the abridged version. Do you think you'd have the same if you read the giant, massive?
I almost think that I would have enjoyed it more.
Really?
Just because I knew that, a lot of things were left out. And I hate reading abridged versions
Right.
of books. But this one, I mean, although I don't think I prefer it, I feel that it just sort of helped the story along quicker, I guess. I mean, so it was fine.
Well, I mean, at least with the Apple one, it got extra weird with the lover son thing with the Empress. Like that was the son part kept happening more and more in the Apple one. Like they really highlighted that how she would refer to him as my lover and son. Like it was.
Do you think it was because Hippolytus was so much younger than she
Had to have
was?
had to have been
Right?
like he had to have like somehow reminded her of her son or something. But it wasn't that. I mean, it was like implied in the book one, but I feel it was real heavy in the Apple one.
But can we just reflect on how weird that is? It's weird and creepy almost.
Yeah, it's pretty strange.
Okay, so how do you feel about Hippolytus? Just
I mean, apparently he was a good knight, and then
he was well loved.
he married the princess in England. Brought it all together. Had a son named Hippolytus. The end. I did like the very last little line on both of them though. How it did say this book was published November 20th, 1490, and I thought that was. It's hard to wrap my mind around. Like
Right.
that's an exact date so long ago, and yet I'm reading it on a phone that like this technology that everything we're doing, this whole thing, had no idea, couldn't even fathom it. It would seem like evil sorcery. I'm sure it was.
Do you feel that Hippolytus was appropriately chosen? I mean, I sort of liked how in the Apple version, at least, he sort of had to make it seem like he didn't choose himself, like he had to ask.
That's how both were. But they were like, we know what you're doing. Y'all go ahead. Everyone knew. They had to play off the formalities of it all, like the politics of it all, which was. But he was well liked, and he seemed to do a good job, and he apparently followed in Tehran's footsteps of keeping Greece from being attacked. And it may not have worked out swimmingly for the main characters, but in the course of history, it seemed to work out for the countries, I guess.
Yeah.
But.
Okay, so how did you, or would you rate it?
Oh, I don't know. Like I said, these old one, I feel like they're harder to rate, whereas opposed to like newer stuff. But
did you really enjoy it?
In the end, I think I did.
Yeah, that's the way I felt. I mean, I didn't think it was that great, but then just that twist at the end, just sort of, I don't know, just made it a lot more interesting. And I guess it sort of, it made me understand why, or the relevance of Hippolytus' relationship with the Empress.
Right.
As strange as it was.
I mean, it wasn't just like, different than other ancient stories where like that they just needed to fill something. They're like, oh, and then this happened. Whereas this was actually built, like things were built long in advance, which I guess it seems unique for the time. I don't know if a bunch of ancient texts kind of did that thing, that kind of storytelling, where it just seemed like, I say if they needed. I feel like in other stories, if they were like, oh, and Hippolytus decided to marry the Empress, and the end, like, but this, it wasn't just that. There were like other little things kept building and building. Or like how like King Ascariano kept playing like a bigger and bigger role, but it was built. Like it wasn't just dropped in, which I thought was.
Did the book discuss the relationship of Hippolytus and the Empress any more than the Apple version did?
About the same. I think you got the same.
Okay. Did you have any idea that it was going to turn out the way it did?
No. But the Apple one kept referring to all the various relationships as delicious battles, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes, I got a kick out of that too.
How they implied so much using like war references.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting.
Another question that I have is, I think the introduction, at least to the Apple version, mentioned how spicy some parts were.
Right,
Did the book get any spicier than?
about the same.
Oh, really? Okay.
Everything was kind of implied, but it would say stuff like, the knight the knight could fight all day, so the knight knew he could fight all night and stuff like that. Like it was there. I mean,
Yeah.
it was definitely for. It's not what I thought a chivalric novel would be. I guess now's a good time to mention. Like I found this. I don't remember what I was trying to Google something. I can't remember what. But I came across something about the book where it said the reason this one stands apart from all the other chivalric novels is because it was less, what do they call it, bucolic and lofty and more real, because it was sensual and sarcastic and is generally seen as an accurate representation of that time period.
Okay.
Where other novels at the time were just kind of flowery and lofty and
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, so maybe that's why this one was so, because it wasn't like some knight on a field pining for his damsel. I mean, he was killing gardeners because he thought, it was
Mhm.
he was with his girl.
Yeah, I guess from the description in the introduction, I just thought that it was going to be like a little more licentious, I guess. I don't know.
But for the time, for 1490,
I guess, yeah. I mean, delicious battles. I mean, that sounds. I mean, that paints.
it does. I mean, it's almost smarter in a way because it leaves so much more to the imagination than the
Right.
blatantness of
Yes.
some romance. Because I mean, everyone was doing things with everyone. Like
Okay, so I do have to admit, I mean, it's exactly how I prefer it to be written about in books.
right.
And it was just perfectly described. I mean, is there anything better than saying it was a delicious battle?
That could be whatever
Yeah.
It could be whatever you want it to be.
Oh, okay. Yes, I agree. That was great.
I don't think their delicious battles involved the. Do you remember the scene where they had the group bath and afterwards they had a little snack?
Oh, yes.
Okay, they had eggs with what was it? Eggs with cinnamon and sugar.
Wait,
That does not sound delicious.
was that in the Apple version?
Yeah, it's just struck.
How did that not stand out in my mind?
It just struck me like eggs. I mean, okay, so I've done it before. Like you make French toast and you
Mhm.
have the leftover. So, and I've tried to cook them before, and this to see. I don't. It's not for me. But apparently, in 1490, that was a delicacy.
Apples with cinnamon. I mean, eggs with cinnamon.
Cinnamon and sugar.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Doesn't sound good at all. Doesn't sound
Well,
like a delicious.
I mean, but
batter.
it works in French toast, though.
Works on the bread, like
Yeah.
all together. But
Yeah.
like have you ever taken the batter when you're done and just cooked it?
I don't like cinnamon.
Well, years ago I tried it because I was like, I don't want to, like, I have this extra batter, like I don't really waste it, so
Mhm.
I got the eggs on the toast. Why not eat the eggs? Not good. Not for me. Not for me at all.
Okay, so the bread is what changes the.
I think so, yeah. Because it all becomes like a. I mean, well, it is. It's a batter instead of the actual.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I just. Just not for me.
Huh. Okay, the only time that I really like cinnamon, well, I mean, not the ground cinnamon, but the cinnamon sticks is when I make pho. I mean, but that's it. I mean, I don't like it in anything else.
Really?
Yeah.
Like snickerdoodles? I guess you're not really a big cookie person.
No, I'm not a big cookie person, and there's just something about the cinnamon taste that I mean, I've tried, it just doesn't work for me. I mean, the cinnamon sticks, I guess,
I did not know you didn't like cinnamon.
No, I don't.
I find that strange.
No, I'm sure that it is strange to a lot of people.
I don't know. You seem like a cinnamon person.
I mean, some people do, but
I like it. I like it when there's a balance. I don't like. Yeah, I can see like too much cinnamon
Mhm.
definitely be a problem, but I like it and stuff.
Right. Only in baked goods, or like, do you ever add it to anything else?
It can be good in some savory dishes, just not. I wouldn't. Obviously, I wouldn't
Like
put it
French
in.
toast?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it in eggs. It's gross. Just. Did you catch what the the people in Ethiopia called King Iscariano? It's mentioned one time in both versions, and I just thought it was like, why bring this up and never mention it again?
I don't think so.
They call him King Jam Jam.
Oh, yeah!
I loved it.
That's
Like
right.
you have a guy named King Jam Jam, and you're not gonna keep using that. I thought that was wonderful.
Speaking of, I'm so glad that you brought that up. It doesn't concern King Iscariano, but wasn't Turan referred to as Caesar, like after his conquest?
Yes, so that was not explained in the app. Okay, so
That's what I was going to ask you about. I mean, because I was sort of confused at first. I thought, wait, why is the Caesar now introduced? And then I figured out that it was Turan.
Turan, yeah, that was part of the part that just seemed like just truncated,
Mhm.
whereas the Apple one or the book one was like after such and such, people saw the likeness to Caesar, and it was all explained like how. I mean, obviously you figured it out without all this information, but and that's why they started calling him the Caesar of whatever, whereas the Apple one just started just calling him Caesar, whereas the book was like the Caesar of, and then
Okay.
or the Caesar and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Where, but
Do
yeah,
you feel that the book just got too overly descriptive, I guess, in certain parts to where it became tedious to read?
some parts, but
Okay.
other parts, I guess, comparatively, were kind of necessary. Where because I didn't that part didn't bother me, or like. I know if we go back and watch the videos, it looks like we're like slogging through it, and I wouldn't say this is the best one by far, but it's definitely not the worst one.
Right. Oh, I agree.
Like, I don't know if I'd be inclined to like return to it, but having done it, I don't regret doing it, and I don't regret reading it and having this new. I don't know, something about, like I said, these older ones. It's such an interesting insight in how even this was what 500 years ago. My math is not great. But there's still so many like similarities to like people are still doing the same things and trying to do the same stuff. It's just interesting. I don't know.
You don't normally reread books, though, do you? I know I don't.
Not really. I mean, occasionally I guess I do, but I'm trying to think how often because there's so much out there. Like,
All right, so I have to ask, how much would it take? How much money would it take to get you to reread The Tale of Genji?
I mean, if you're paying me,
Oh, that was just so
it
painful,
was
though.
so painful. But I guess now, at least if I went back, I know what to expect. Whereas the first time, you don't know. I feel like makes it more difficult, especially when you hit those various plot points that just kind of just go nowhere.
It just really dragged for me.
And dragged, yeah.
I can live without couplets, as we both know.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that these books don't. Yes, that we have left those behind. I'm just glad about that.
But we're what, seven down? 7.
Okay.
Almost to double digits. Almost.
Well, and our next one is relatively short, right?
Should be. So, well, the next one in the book is relatively short. I think that's available online as well.
Okay.
Because I think the only copies at the library are in Spanish.
I think I prefer to read them online anyway. All right, so let's just go ahead and talk about the book after the play.
After the play? Or like the one that we said we could do something silly, or not silly, but a little fluffier. And I think I found something. I put 2 on hold. They haven't come in yet. I was hoping they would.
Ooh.
But I didn't know if you had something in mind. I just did this just in
No.
case.
No,
And I think it fits all the criteria. Okay.
All right, let's hear it.
It's won a Booker. I think it won a Booker. The only American book to win the Booker Prize.
Which one?
It's supposed to be hilarious. It's supposed to be hands down the funniest book.
Okay.
Because if you type in funny book, it pops up every time. It's written by a poet who
Ooh.
I've read some of his poetry,
Mm-hmm.
and there's such a rhythm to it. There's such a flow to it. It's very enjoyable.
Okay. I
Do you want to just wait and see?
You have to fill me in now.
Oh, we're just gonna wait. Let's just wait. I gave you a little teaser.
All right, so that's what we are going to read after the play or before the play.
If it comes in time, we can do it before. Let's see if it comes in today. We give it today, and if not, we'll start the play and then just do that one next. Because the play shouldn't take too long.
I normally keep up with.
I'm pretty sure it's the only American book to win a Booker.
Recently?
Fairly in the span of things.
All right. Just surprise me. I will wait.
I hope it's not awful. I hope it lives up to everything in my mind that I've hyped it up to be.
With the Man Booker. All right, so it won the prize, you said? You never really know.
I'm almost. Let me.
It sort of depends on the panel, I think. For a while there, I think every Man Booker Prize winner was the most depressing, sad book.
Yeah, and if this one's so funny, how can it be? How can it be depressing and sad? Because according to Google, it's only 300 pages.
Okay.
Okay, that's
very readable.
It came out 2015.
How come this doesn't ring a bell?
And it won the Booker Prize, making this person the first U.S. writer to win that award. And I'm pretty excited about reading this one. You might hate me, but
it's not The Sellout, is it?
Look at you and your database of Booker Prize.
It just rang a bell. I mean, yes, okay.
Yeah, I'm very excited to read this one.
All right. It's been on my radar, but I have not read it.
Well, good.
Okay, so. Oh my gosh, okay. All right. If it makes you feel better, I'm looking forward to it. So I also wanted to ask you, are you going to start the play or what is the next one soon?
The next one's the play. I can't remember what it's called. It's the two names.
I don't remember either.
The Spanish play.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Okay. So we have a few things planned, and I guess depending on if we get the Sellout in today, then we may or may not read that next.
At least both of those before the
next one.
Book 9. Is it 9? Am I doing that right?
Oh yes, that's right.
Arabian Nights, short story, Genji, 2 epics, Paley. Yeah.
Right.
9. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Fun times ahead.
Oh, you're gonna give up on me by that. Hope you like nights.